don't you look at me? I've tried to be as open as I can. Why don't you look at me? I'm tired of being the invisible man. The invisible man. Oh, the invisible man.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Invisible Man. We've got a great show coming up. We'll tell you about our guests in just a couple of minutes. First off, we'd like to encourage everybody to like the stream, share. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, follow us. It will be great. The more people we get in the audience, the more fun we will have. And of course, get your questions ready because we want you to be as big a part of the show as possible. My name is Mark David Stallard, and of course, the guy the top left there with the glasses you recognize, he uses his middle name he doesn't use his middle name, even though he should, is Ryan Jans. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great, Mark. Eagerly excited. Mark has, we've got some old former bandmates of yours, and we're doing a reunion show today. So Mark has given me the reins, so to speak. I've come up with all kinds of intelligent, we'll call them, questions for Mark and his former mates, coming to all the way from the UK. We'll get more into that, but we should record this show because this may be the first and the very last time that Mark ever lets me host the show. So
It wasn't the first. It's not the first.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
think he can do it. I think you can do it, Ryan.
I was trying to garner some support from our audience, but nobody's chimed in. I'm watching the chat feed. I will ask your questions.
Okay, so let me do a quick introduction just so everyone knows who everyone is. Regular viewers will remember Gavin. Say hi, Gavin. Gavin George. So Gavin George was my songwriting partner and a very good friend for many years. We appeared on stage and in people's garages. Okay, no one was watching us there. And of course, next to him on the screen there is Steve Moore. Hey, Steve, how you doing? So Steve was was our drummer for probably the longest time, I think. So we'll get into that. And Simon Lowes, who was, I think, I'm going to embarrass him now, but has always been the drummer that I've always wanted in my band, always, and he still is. He's all blushing. Stop it. But no, every time I play a lot of very jazzy kind of bass stuff, and he's a very inventive jazzy drummer. Anyhow, one of these, and I just want to say out loud, actually, it's going to come up anyway. One of these guys is a really great drummer. The other, not so much. We'll figure out who's who later. Okay, there you go. We actually performed under several names, and one of them was Trademark. So we had several other names over the years, but there you go. That's the intro, a little bit about us, and Ryan, the show's all yours.
All right. Well, I got a bit of an icebreaker here. For viewers of our show who tuned in last week, we had Adam Feasy on from Adam and the Hellcats. And this is the first time somebody actually directly asked me a question in the comments. It was from a fella I won't repeat his whole name, but his name was Muttley. That's what it came up as. And he asked me, Ryan, would you rather a sausage sarnie or a bacon bunty?
Butty.
Buddy. Okay.
No.
I'm got my notes halfway up the screen. So my question for everybody is, we're going to do a little round table here. Sausage sarnie or bacon buddy? My answer, not really knowing what I'm doing, but never one to be shy from taking a bite out of my own foot, replied that I would take one, then the other. Unspecific as to which one was which. So I guess we'll start right up there with Simon Lowes, and we'll go on down to Steve and then around to Gavin. What would you prefer, sausage sarnie or bacon buddy?
Bacon butty.
All right. Steve, what do you think?
Both at the same time, mate.
I love it. Very good. And what about you, Gavin?
It depends on the time of day. We're driven by tradition over here, of course.
Okay.
So bacon butty in the morning and maybe a sausage sarnie in the afternoon.
All right. So I'm told that they're sandwiches. We had a big discussion. Apparently, I was a little outlandish in saying first one, then the other. But can you expound on this? I think Marmite got thrown into there eventually as well, because as viewers of the show will say, we can't usually do a show within a couple of weeks of each other without mentioning Marmite. Tell me, what are these sandwiches? What are they like? Are we just talking about a couple of pieces of bread with stuff shoved in, or they got some seasoning? Tell me more about what I've committed myself to if I ever do go over to England, and I'm forced to prove that I can do this.
Yeah.
Well, most people have brown sauce.
Okay.
With a bacon butty.
So I'll translate that. HP sauce is what we're talking about. Just for the North Americans in the audience, yeah. Right.
Okay. So it's like a barbecue sauce type.
Okay. I think Steve's misleading you there. Actually, it's you'd always have an egg and a little bit of tomato sauce.
Okay. Yeah. Doesn't sound too bad. This actually sounded like really good hangover recipes to follow up the comments we were having off air here. So what would you say? Would you say a bacon butty first thing in the morning after a night of hard hitting the pubs hard?
That sounds good. Yeah, I'll let Steve have his brown sauce with the sausage in the afternoon. That sounds much more appropriate.
What about you, Simon? What would you weigh in on this?
What would I? So personally, I'd go for tomato ketchup.
All right,
that's he's posh.
Now, what would you say? What would you say for first thing in the morning after a night of hitting a couple of pubs with your mates and just tearing up the town for a bit? What would you rather have first thing in the morning when you're just get the Alka-Seltzer in your drinking?
To be honest with you, that'd be a good fry up for me. Anything.
Right on. As long as it's deep fried, we're good, right?
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So now that the ice has been broken, I played in a number of bands as well as with Mark. And one thing that we've noticed is it's always a drummer thing. We sort of touched on this with Adam a couple weeks ago. It's always a drummer thing. Why is it so hard to hold on to a drummer? It seems like it's easier to hold on to a wriggling fish than to keep a drummer in your band. So would you fellas care to enlighten me as to why it's so difficult to keep a drummer in the band?
That's a good question. So,
surprise.
I think it was the other way around for us, because I think Mark decided he wanted to go to Canada and just took off one morning, and that was that.
Yeah, it kind of happened. Although there's a lot was going on. It wasn't just it wasn't just it's time to go to Canada, but it was around that same time. We can go into the why did I leave the band? We can go into that now if you want.
That's for another show. We've already decided that this is the line we're not going to go up to and cross over, right? Unless it was music related, right?
Oh no,
I think that's the reason why Mark went to Canada, because he couldn't get rid of me.
Well,
oh wait! Are you the good drummer? Or are you the bad drummer?
I'm the bad one.
So you're the good one, Steve.
Yeah, you won't say that in a minute when we play some clips.
So we still are no more enlightened as to why it's almost impossible to keep a drummer in a band. Apparently the Rolling Stones had the same problem in the early years, couldn't keep a drummer. So I don't feel so bad anymore. So
well, I think
there we go.
I think our problem here in Winnipeg is we probably have a lot, but we have lots of drummers to pick from. There are far more bands, and there's a lot of bands that are actually performing. When we were young, there was nowhere to play, right? So we just made our own gigs half the time. But Simon was a career guy, and so some other things going on in the background. So he went his own way. Steve, I think we actually waited for Steve to actually learn how to play. I think you just got a set of drums, and then we kind of learned while we were really trying to be patient with him.
Now I gotta ask, as viewers aren't privy to our conversation off air, obviously, Steve, you had mentioned that you had joined up with the UK Forces. Did you join so that you could learn how to play drums? Was that how that transitioned, or was that a progression afterwards?
No. It was this was after leaving the band and Mark going off to Canada. I then joined the forces, but no, it was. No, I don't think they would have helped me at all, really, to be honest with you.
So you didn't volunteer to do the snare during drill and parade, where you could just. No.
I was the Royal Engineers. Didn't have anything to do with the band or anything like that. It was that's the reason why I started with Mark and Gavin, was because I used to play in the Boys Brigade band, snare drum. So that was okay. Snare drum fine. Kit different. Yeah.
Right. So you weren't completely unskilled, right? So as long as you've got one drum,
completely,
we're okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So you, in relation to our other conversation about trying to write the one chord song, we could write the one drum song, and Steve can do our stuff for us. This is perfect.
I'm there.
Love it when a plan comes together.
But yeah, now you got to remember though that Simon can make one drum sound like 4 kits. He'll blow you away.
So,
to us, you were a wizard when we first heard you.
When you talk about a drum kit, though, that's maybe starting to answer your question, Ryan, because a drummer has got to have his own transport. You can't carry around a passenger who's got a drum kit. You can carry someone who's got a guitar slung in the back, not a drum kit. So he's got to have his own kit, his own transport, and probably lots of other complications.
So to be honest with you, I only took up drums when I was at primary school because they told me that's how you get a girlfriend. And if I could get hold of the person that told me that, believe me, I'm wasting so much time.
Well, that's what they say about guitar, and yeah, what a bunch of liars they were, right?
Everybody loves you when you're on stage, but then you go talk to them afterwards, and they're like, "Oh, no. Sorry, I'm with this person over here."
Yeah. Well,
the
thing with Steve's drums as well, it was he didn't have a car, and I think it was late in the day when I finally got a car. I think I got my older sister's car. It was dented and falling apart, but we a Vauxhall Viva. No, it was a Morris Marina. I had the two. I can't forget which came first. But me and Steve and Gavin would all be in the same car with the drum kits, big, huge floor bass speaker, and of course there's Steve. There's you're 6'2", Steve, big, you're a tall kid.
Yeah.
And I guess me and Gavin are around 5'11", give or take. And it says me and Gavin, I'll be driving. Gavin will be in the passenger seat with 3 guitars on him. Poor Steve's in the back there, huddled down with the roof, with the drums and all the other stuff around him. So we went to a few gigs like that. It was fine for me. I had lots of.
It was also Gav. You had a Nissan Cherry, didn't you?
And
or was it a Sunny?
A Datsun in those days, Stanza.
That was it.
Oh,
that was it.
Height of luxury.
Yes.
Yo. I think when we were gigging,
you, Steve, had something much better than a car, though. You had a garage.
That's right.
Yes. Rehearsal space.
Yeah.
Well, that's just planning. That's just planning out. I'm planning to have a car in the future, so I have the garage to put the car in when I get the car. It's better to have that than to get the car and not, have to do what we do here and run an extension cord across the street to make sure it starts when it's minus 40 and 40 outside in the morning. So that's I can't.
Yeah, but then once we were in the band, the garage was no good to put a car in.
Who cares?
This is true.
Yeah.
Oh, the soundproofing.
Let me jump in.
We sort of explored where Steve has gone after the band. Simon, Mark had alluded that you were always a career type person. What kind of interested you have outside of your music that kind of eventually took you there and took you away?
So I have so many hobbies. I mean, I guess one of my hobbies, I ride motorbikes. I'm really into motorbikes. So every 6 months, I go away on my motorbike to go and find myself. Or at least that's what I tell my family anyway.
So when you return, have you ever found yourself, or did you
Still searching?
No, still lost.
Searching.
All right, still lost. Okay.
I still play. I was saying to Mark, I was saying earlier that I haven't played drums for a while, but I've been in a couple of bands along the way. So and keen to get back into it, but time's always an issue, you know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I understand. I think Mark and I both share. Well, I mean, Mark has more grown children. I have a small little daughter who's 3, and another one who's going to be born soon. So my time has been gone from this, and then trying to work full time as well. So always that issue.
Okay, I've got a question for Simon. So Simon, I remember you always you seem to always be around. How did can you remind me how did we get you in? How did we get you into the band? I forget how. I usually can remember those conversations, but I forget.
I remember it. I absolutely got on my knees and begged.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that, but I'll take it.
So Simon, you have a guest. Who's your guest there sitting next to you?
Oh, this is my daughter.
And her name?
Millie. Say hello, Millie.
Hello.
Hello, Millie.
Hi, Millie.
Now, I'm not going to try and embarrass you here, but this is going out across the internet for all time and all 5 of the people who are watching live right now. So it's okay if we're going to try and not embarrass you too much, Millie. But if we do, just remember there's only about, hang on, let me get the actual numbers here from our screen. 3 people plus me
you know
in
what?
the chat room.
Be nice to our viewer. Come on.
That's Chris. It's Chris. He's a longtime fan. He's good. He's good.
Oh, actually, here we go. He's got a question. I noticed I missed that there. He asks, "Who's got rhythm and who's got music?" I don't know if we can. I don't know if I can answer that one. Both. I've got both, I guess. Steve.
Oh, is that a question as well?
Yeah, I guess we can answer that. Do a round table if you like.
Rhythm or music? Who's got what? And I remember vaguely hearing something about somebody groaning about a recording of Twist and Shout. So somebody's definitely got rhythm, but not music.
I seem to be putting my hand up a lot.
Oh, I lost my link. Yeah.
Well, Simon,
Okay.
you go ahead. You can start us off with that one.
Who's got rhythm?
Yeah, Simon's got the rhythm.
Well,
What about Gavin? We're going to go the opposite way that we went before. Gavin, rhythm or music?
I like rhythm, but I've got music.
Okay. And Steve?
Questionable on both.
That's the right answer.
Our qualitative yes on the. It's there. We're gonna have to explore it a little bit, perhaps with some confidence.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's it. I can click my fingers.
There you go.
Okay.
West Side
Twist
Story.
and shout. So twist and shout. I think the world needs to know. The world needs to know. Twist and shout. It was one of those songs that I liked. I've always enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a classic. But I wanted to sing the backup vocals with Gavin, and so I bullied Stephen to singing the lead while he was drumming. And I'll play just a couple of verses of it just so you can get the gist of it. So I'll leave everybody on the screen. So here we go, Steve. This is for you.
Okay.
Shake it up, baby. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. Twist and shout. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Work it on out. Work it all out. Work it on out. Work it all out. You look so good.
There we go. I can play the rest of it. It just gets worse from there. There we go.
Well,
it was funny.
that started off not too bad.
No, I know.
I like this
was,
throaty. Like,
I was looking at that, looking for stuff
good.
to play.
I like it.
I was looking at stuff to play, and I was thinking that actually wasn't as bad as I remembered it. But I do have a bit of a story there. And I think I've mentioned on the show once. But the three of us did a show in Portsmouth, and I can't remember the name of the club. The room was fairly empty, but while we were doing the sound check, Steve's up there checking the mic and doing the drums, and the sound guy says to me, "I can't make this guy sound good." And I was too. I couldn't bring myself to tell Steve at the time, but now he knows.
Well, I say it's a perfect segue playing Twist and Shout there, because I have a question for Gavin, for Steve, and for Simon. Who did Mark go on more about? Did he go on about Simon and Garfunkel more, or the Beatles when you guys were playing together? Which one was he more apt to push as an influencer, want to do a cover?
Beatles.
Okay, that hasn't changed. What do you say, Steve?
Oh no, definitely Beatles, but there was definitely a bit of Simon and Garfunkel going on as well.
All right.
It was, and Blues Brothers, of course.
Of course, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it goes without being said.
Hey, we're on a mission from God.
God, that's the
one. What do you say? What say you, Gavin, Mr. George? What did he push more on you?
Well, when we started, he was all Simon and Garfunkel, and then he went more Beatles. So as he got past the sort of busking, wandering around with his guitar stage into a band, he went into the Beatles, and for sure.
All right, there you go. Very good. Mark, we're getting at a 20-minute mark in. Do you or part of the show? Do we want to do your slideshow and play King of the Kings Road, or?
For sure, yeah. So, by way of introduction, as I line this up, this should just start once I hit the.
Yeah,
button.
Sure.
But okay.
So I actually have some questions, because I've seen the slideshow before, and I have some really important questions that I just need answered, and I've asked them actually of both Gavin and Mark the last time Gavin was on the show and we watched this slideshow. But my curiosity has not been satiated, so I have some questions for you guys.
Okay.
Okay,
so we're ready to go. About this. I'll just set it going. So King of the Kings Road was a song that Gavin and I wrote. It was mainly a project of Gavin's. We still do it in Soul in the Mind, so it's something that I've been playing pretty much since the day Gavin played it to me. It's one of my favorites. We had a chance to record it, and I forget where we recorded it, but the recording was pretty decent. But we got Simon was playing the drums on this one. Steve, I don't think was with us yet, but there is going to be pictures of Steve. You have to squint a bit, Steve, but you are in some of these pictures. So here you go, King of the Kings Road. And don't forget your mics are hot.
King of the Kings Road, King of the Kings Road. Even in man's what they should wear, he has captured them as they stare at the King of the Kings Road, King of the Kings Road, King of Kings Road, King of Kings Road. Get out the tube at Sloane Square. Seek the look dance now. Look through the glass and see him standing there, motionless, without a thought. King of the Kings Road, King of the Kings Road, King of the Kings Road. Even if that's what they should wear, he has captured them as they stare at the King of the Kings Road. King of the Kings Road, King of Kings Road, King of Kings Road. Watch the people as they gather round him to listen to his style. He just stands there watching over them as they worship. Their life is idle. King of the Kings Road, King of the Kings Road. Even in that what they should glass window fooled you. That he is king of the King's Road, king of the King's Road, king of the King's Road. Even his last what they should wear, he has captured them at the stand at the king of the King's Road, king of the King's Road. They think he's blue, oh, he calls all blues, king, king of the King's Road.
Well, there we go. Oh, hang on a sec. There we go.
It's gone mad.
There we go. There we go.
All right, back and on track.
That's
that
why
was-
I need a
love-
technician.
I love that song. Mark, I remember playing that for me was like when we first started playing together, or about maybe a couple of months in. I loved it, and it was just a wonderful tune. Anyway, Mark and Gavin, you want to start off the conversation about how you got that tune rolling, and maybe Steve and Simon can add what you guys felt was going on, and how it kind of became the song that it is.
Well, it was Gavin's. It came to birth in Gavin's bedroom, I guess. But I'll let Gavin start, as it was his project.
I guess I knocked it together quite quickly. The chords, I didn't really know what to make of it. So when I chucked the chords together, I found a theme for the words, and it was about this mannequin down the King's Road in Chelsea, and it was a story that we could kind of twist and turn to different sort of ways that we wanted to. I thought, but this thing with the tune, I just couldn't really get it. And when I played it to Mark, I remember that Mark found the rhythm. And so your question earlier about melody and rhythm, that was Mark that found the rhythm for it.
So it is true. He's got both. He does have both.
Yeah.
Okay.
we put on a little cassette player, and I've still got the first recording that Mark did of him playing the guitar and singing it. And he put a lot more drive into the main body of the song. And then he put the sort of funky strum on the chorusy bit. And that made the song, really. That and the ending. I still like the ending. But it kind of brought the song together, really. Made it complete.
Yeah, I remember hating it when I first heard it. It was, and I think that there's a little bit of snobbery that still sticks with me. Is he just played the open chords, so it just didn't sound right. There was a C, G, and D, and it's like, okay, this doesn't sound very inventive, because we were using major ninths and all over the place. It was a 3-chord chorus, and I think that once I had decided, well, I'm gonna, and it was fairly quick, I think, but it was very, very quick. I decided, well, I'm going to play the barré chords and not going to play the open chords. And then it very quickly came from there, well, if I put a little bit of rhythm into it, we now have a completely different song. And that's where that came out. I really didn't I probably pulled that face that, Gavin and I know when we don't like something, you get that face, it goes, it's it's quite subtle, but you just know I don't really like that. And Gavin does that too. But yeah, it was just a matter of changing that once I got past my snobbery on those chords. Was able to play them in a interesting way. It was I finished the lyrics on it, I think. It became one of my favorites, and we played it pretty much every time, as I recall.
It actually is a really well conceived in not just lyrically, but it has a good fundamental flow to it, and has a sort of a natural rhythm and cadence to it. So I guess I'll open it up to our friends, the drummers. When they presented the song to you, was it something that it just you kind of heard it in your head and you're like, yes, I should do it like this, or was it something that you kind of had to arduously go through and write even beat by beat, or was it just something that just came like that?
To be absolutely honest with you, when I hear it now, it seems a bit quick to me. For the drumming, I mean, because I remember when we did the song, I thought, we'll hit the gate doing 98 and we'll sort of give it a bit of oomph, jazz it up a bit, you know? But when I hear my drumming now, I'm thinking, well, maybe if I played it now, I'll just pare it back a bit.
Actually, I think a lot of our songs would benefit from that. I remember Moonlight Mist, which is one that Gavin and I wrote, which we still play. Me and Gavin, we would just run with it, and it would get faster. It would get faster and faster throughout the song, as I recall. I now play that one a lot slower. I think a lot of our songs would benefit. Maybe it was just the hormones were driving us to go faster.
There's a drummer joke buried in there somewhere, but since there's more of them than there are of me, I'll leave it alone. I think we've made taken enough swipes at our good friend drummers, which is probably why they never stick around. And it's easier to hold a wriggling fish than to hold on to a drummer. Steve, what did you think of it the first time you heard the song? And did you think this is complete madness? You want me to do what now, or did you have sort of a feel of how you wanted to approach the song?
No, I to be honest with you, I heard the first time I heard it was Simon's version of it, and it was like, "What? He's doing what?" It was like, "Okay, I'm not copying that." Okay, so I was, the thing is, for me. It was going this way, it was going that way, it was going this way, it was going that way. It wasn't consistent, so it was trying to actually work out where I needed to do this, that, and change the pace a little bit. So during the King of the Kings Road, I was doing a hi-hat roll, and then going back onto the snare and all that sort of stuff. So it was, it took a bit of time to piece it all together with Mark and Gavin input.
All right. Now, Mark, I was wondering, can you pull up the individual photos there, or
Yep.
Are you able to get the one where you're standing? You guys are playing. You've got a pink vest on, and it's on top of a couple of hay bales in the back of a truck. Are you able to pull that up?
Yes. Give me a second here. Where did I put it?
All right.
Yep.
So I've softened you all up enough to see if someone can give me an answer to these. I got a couple of questions. In fact, I got questions for all the whole, as Adam would say, for you lot. That includes you, Mark. All right. So let's see if we can pull up that picture there real quick, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, give me a sec.
All right. Well, and while Mark's pulling that up, great. I've got another one on there.
Here we go.
And this is for Simon and Steve. Who's more of an influence, Ringo or Bonham?
So, to be honest with you, that's a really good question. John Bonham was an incredibly technically gifted drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if I'm being honest, far more gifted or technical than Ringo. Having said that, I'm not knocking Ringo, because Ringo did what he needed to do to bring musicality to the Beatles. So both level pegging, definitely.
There you go. What do you say, Steve?
I think compared to John, I was more of a Ringo.
That's a brilliant answer. We don't even have to explore that anymore. All right. So Mark's pulled up this photo, this infamous photo, and the one that I just have so many questions about. So you got Mark up there. Who let him wear that pink sweater or that pink vest? Was that a Mark decision, or was that somebody dare him to wear that? Or
it's scarlet. It's scarlet. It's a scarlet. It's not pink. Scarlet.
Yeah.
And gold.
Okay.
Shiny gold on the back.
It looks pink in this photo. It really looks pink. Now, if it's scarlet, I'll take it back, because this is actually like a red. It would have been more like that color.
No, that's burgundy.
Okay.
That's burgundy.
Mark,
it was red. It was quite.
I'm not gonna joke about the pink vest anymore.
Ryan, you shouldn't.
This was glittery.
It was that color.
That was glittery, and he had the scarlet front and the gold back, and I had the gold front and the scarlet back.
Actually, I think
Gavin, where's
no,
yours?
no, Gavin's originally had
yours?
the. No, I think Gavin originally had the gold front and the red back, and then Gavin switched to the braces.
The braces.
Ah, okay.
But don't knock it, Ryan. My mother made them for us.
No, don't knock it. They were wonderful. They were wonderful. Those things.
And you see, there you go. We can't have a show without me putting my foot in my mouth. Now, in that photo, we have you guys standing up on. That was at the back of on a truck, right? And then there was hay
It
bales.
was a trader. It was a farm trader.
Okay, so whose bright idea was it to make light fixtures out of baked bin tins?
Baked
Or
beans.
Tim's.
Yeah, the tins. Whose idea was that?
Tim Rombach.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
it
he
wasn't
was-
anybody in the band.
Yeah, he was in the.
He was-
they were the band.
He was a drummer on that night.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
the drummer
okay.
on the other
He was
band.
another drummer.
He was on the slideshow.
So, because again, I've sort of alluded that I work in the electrical trade, and the minute somebody says, "Oh yeah, we just took baked beans and tins and threw some lights in there and strung them up," and you see them sitting up performing on top of a hay bale, you're like, "Oh!" I mean, I've played in some pretty locale. In fact, Mark and I played in one of the bars that my other band had played in pretty frequently, called the Cavern, and I remember Mark being very apprehensive about being there because it had a reputation of being a lot worse than it really was. But you'd walk into the back green room and there's like graffiti all over the place, and like it just looked like a total dive. But it was a great band. It was a great venue, one of those local places around there. So, oh my goodness, who's rocking the mullet there? Is that you, Steve?
I think so. I can't see it. It's too small.
Yeah, it wasn't a mullet. It was the Beatle. It was more of a what's his name? The guitarist from the Monkees, and we had the long Beatles hair, but it was parted on the side. That's what I was. That's what I was doing there at the time.
And I just had a comb back.
Yeah. And yeah, Gavin's hair just did what it did, I think.
Yeah.
With the
Well,
natural curls.
I feel for you, dude, because my hair just does whatever it wants to now too.
Oh, mate.
But only in a different room.
Tell me about it.
In a different room, though.
So this is directly for Gavin, and I think I've asked this to you before. What happened to your mustache? Every one of those pictures, he's got this gloriously wonderful mustache. What happened? What happened to the stash, man?
I don't know. I'm not sure if it was a great idea at the time. Mark gave me lots of advice on it, keeping it or not, and I think I eventually took the advice.
Well, actually, one time he did try and shave. I remember he shaved it once. Gavin's naturally got a natural tan, but I think it surprised me quite a lot when he did shave it once. He had a really white bottom lip, or very pale bottom top lip, and then he very promptly grew it again.
Oh my goodness!
That's a great shot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too good, too good.
Playing chess in the field.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that was
Oh
a
my goodness.
yeah.
I was-
Not having to work because there was no jobs. That was what that was about in the 1980s.
playing a game of chess out in with the floral patterned. What are
Oh,
those?
yeah.
Like this almost look like mattresses.
Well, no, there was sun lounger covers,
Oh, okay.
like the padding.
Yeah, okay. Right on. No, that's just
Like you do.
There we go.
Yeah,
Like you did.
like you did in the 80s.
well, there's nothing to do, so you might as well go sit out in the lawn, right? So.
Yeah. Whereas that will go play snooker, which we always did as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now,
And chalkies.
That's
now
yeah.
is someone able to verify this? Because Mark tells me that at one point in time he was really into like punk music or something like that. Is someone able to? Oh, ska.
Yeah, no, it was punk as well. In the
No,
early,
ska
in the
and
early
punk have a-
70s or
have
mid
a
70s.
crossing. There's like a Venn
Yeah,
diagram.
yeah. Yeah.
For a little while, I was a punk when it was trendy to be a punk, and then Madness came on the scene about 78, give or take, around there.
Yeah.
And then I love this stuff, and then so publicly I was into that kind of stuff, but privately I was listening to classical music like the Beatles and Simon & Garfunkel and Dylan.
You'd actually be surprised just how many people in the punk scene actually have a wide taste in music. You'd think that it's like, oh, it's all about, because a lot of it is protest and a lot of anger and we're mad at everything and screw this and screw that and, you know, double fingers up in the air and trying to be a family show here, so that's why they're not actually raising any fingers. But that's the genre that I grew up listening to, and punk and grunge were big when I was kind of coming of age. And so when Mark tells me about this, because I think we were having a discussion about like all these different bands, and you know, like the Clash and the UK Subs and Subhumans and a bunch of like really famous UK punk bands, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I used to be into what? No, you didn't." He's like, yeah.
So. I think most of us were. I think you were a little bit into it, Gav, weren't you?
Only for a couple of weeks when Mark said you can get to play your guitar in a band, so he dragged me along. I think I knew about 2 or 3 chords at the time, but he said that was enough. So he dragged me along, and I don't know where we were or what we did, but it was a load of noise and it was a bit of fun. But then we moved swiftly on to Simon and Garfunkel, I think, after that. he let his real passion out.
Yeah.
And he's been playing that ever since, I can honestly say. When I started with Mark, I had another band there was a reggae ska band, and then that kind of imploded. And then I started up with another band that became a heavy metal band and progressive rock. And all the times I'd be like, go to a gig one weekend and I'd be playing like heavy metal. And the next weekend, Mark and I would be going playing in some coffee shop, and I'm sitting there playing some lovely little melody that we've constructed. So it's
a little ditty.
quite the gear shift between, but it's interesting to see how actually a lot of the same processes of writing music. It doesn't matter what genre. If you've got the people around you and you can collaborate, it just makes for better music, right? So, and
so that's evidence, Gavin.
How have you guys found the collaborative process? I know that Gavin and Mark have been playing together for a while, and you get sort of in sync. How did you guys find? Was it easy to sort of lock in and get in sync with Mark and Gavin, or was it at times a little challenging?
How do you say?
That's a yes.
The silence is damning.
I think with Mark, he was most definitely more full on.
What does that mean?
And where Gavin was very laid back, chilled out, and all that sort of stuff, and sort of like went along with things. And it was like Mark was like, no, I want it this way, I want it that way, I want it this way, I want it that way. Am I wrong or am I wrong?
I don't know. You make me sound like a monster. But I warn you.
I'll let you know he has toned it. He's turned it back. He's not at 11 anymore. He's down to about an 8 or a 9.
Well,
he's still, you know what? You really do value somebody who has a vision for a song or a project and say, I want it to sound this way, but gives you the freedom as a contributor to make changes that might add or subtract, and really it's always been a very good. Chris is saying you're 10.5, Mark. I say you're about an 8 or 9. But
thanks, Chris.
But it's always just it's just always been a pleasure to work with Mark, and always admired the fact that he had such a clear vision of this is how the
I think
to sound.
I think that Steve was he had the unenviable role of playing the kind of drums the way I would have played them. I did have lessons when I was younger, so it was I had more of a clear idea of what I thought he could do and what I thought he could do. So then I would guide. I don't recall ever with Simon or Gavin giving them any clear direction. Because usually it would be, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I would have an idea, this is what I would have, and I still like this, I still say, you do you, I want you to put yourself into this, I don't want, because most of the time I don't know how I want the bass line to be. I don't know how the drums should be or a lead guitar. I know how the song should go and the melody, but that's about it. What are your thoughts, guys?
I remember you saying we just got on with it, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, to
You were always very honest, Mark. If you didn't like stuff, and you would say, but you weren't trying to direct us.
Yeah, and I think that
the thing is, sorry, Mark. From my perspective, I was a snotty-nosed little 18-year-old who needed direction, and you know, Mark and I would spend so much time around his house, going through songs and all that, and doing a bit of jam sessions with a little practice pad and all that sort of stuff. And it was really cool. It was absolutely fantastic. And I didn't mean to be derogatory as far as Mark was concerned, but he was running at about 18 at the time. If you think he's an 8 now, he's about an 18.
No, and you know what? I've always liked that. In fact, more often than not, Mark isn't really about telling me what I should write. It's more like if I've done something that doesn't fit, he'll be like, maybe no, that I don't think will fit. And it's usually a pretty good consensus anyways. So I don't, you know, I gotta tease him.
Yeah, and I think,
right? I mean,
I think the only thing, there may be only 1 or 2 songs where I have told Ryan this is what you've got to do. And one of those was Moonlight Mist, because I wanted you to play what Gavin played.
Yeah, you know, and that was, and I remember I treated it as an homage piece because you said this is how we used to play it, and you wanted it to sound as close to as that, and so I listened to it and spent hours trying to get the timing for the walk to go that do 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 do, and just getting that. I mean, we get through a verse, get to the chorus. And no, back to the chorus. It was me who was saying, go back, let's go back. I got to get this right. So, and I don't think I've been as ruthless on myself with stuff that I usually write, but trying to follow in somebody else's footsteps and pay homage to their performance, and yet still make it your own that's a tough act to balance, right? So,
just flipping that the other way around onto the drummers, though, it was easy to work with Steve. Because of what Mark was saying about his drumming style. Simon, it was a spectacular sort of shock to play with Simon. So Mark and I have been busking without a drummer for probably 1 or 2 years, and then we had some drummers who were good, competent drummers, but coming to someone like Simon, who played like he had 5, 6 arms and 3 kits. It was. It just took some adjusting, and if you can imagine playing with no drums and then playing with Simon, it was a big change.
Yeah, it was.
For the better.
Oh, absolutely. It was. I mean, I'm considering that we came up with this kind of a funky-esque faux funk kind of sound that you heard in King of the King's Road, and then Simon just came in. The drums just belonged. What he did just belonged with that song, and I don't think there was any time where you go, "Oh, can you try something different?" Not once. I don't think once we ever had to do that. He got the groove, found the groove almost right away within a couple of bars. Yeah. So if you want a full-time job as a drummer, Simon, I'll hire you. We got to wait till I got the money.
If I could earn a living from it, I would love to do it.
But Simon, have you got a jazz background to your drumming?
No, not at all. No, just so what got me into drumming? I saw Karen Carpenter do a drum solo in 1972, and I decided I wanted to play the drums. So that's just how it happened. I'm kind of self-taught, and I just do what I do. I actually rate myself, but I just enjoy what I do. So,
did you think Karen Carpenter wanted to get close to you or something?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I really, there's some amazing drummers out there, and I just love watching them. Do you know what I mean? I'm never going to be one of them, but I just enjoy what I do, and I love playing music. I just wish I had more time to do it.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah.
One day.
Well, I think all of us could easily say that. I'm very much in the agreement. If I could make a living at doing this full time, I wouldn't be in the trade that I'm in. I wouldn't be doing, a 9 to 5. I'd be doing this but it's unfortunately we're not at that point where we can. Even pre-pandemic, it just wasn't it was difficult to earn a living, steady income as a musician, and it just. It's an unfortunate side of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's the.
But it's great doing what you love to do.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're fortunate that you've got a platform in which to do it. I once Mark went to Canada. That was it. I did a couple of gigs for the local church, did a couple of musicals and a couple of other bits, and that was it. That was me done. Joined the army and then never picked up a pair of sticks again.
That's a shame.
So are you saying? So Steve,
but
are you saying that? Are you saying that you were holding a torch for me?
Oh, always.
You were sad. You were sad. I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt that way. Sorry. That's why you always came into my bedroom willingly. Right. Oh, okay. Family show.
Yeah.
To practice. I meant to practice. Get your heads out of the gutter.
Yeah.
Oh, you're awful.
Yeah. But I do like it.
So Chris Lady in the has said a CBC documentary. Mark back in the UK getting the boys back together. I think that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah, we better get that application in while we still have a liberal government.
When you coming
that's this part of the game. Boy, I've skirted right up to the line. That's it. I'm right up here. Let's focus on the music here. We only got a couple minutes left here. I'll get you to scratch the back of your brain there, Steve, when you played more, and Simon, you can answer this. Are you guys? Do you have a particular brand loyalty to a specific type of kit? I like these kind of sticks, or these kind of skins, or this kind of kit. I have quite the variety of instrumentation behind me, but I do have a preference towards one. I'll share with you if you share with me. What is your preference for?
That sounded rude. Sorry.
Instrumentation?
So for when I'm playing at home, I play Roland electronic drums. When I play in a band, I play Tama with Zildjian cymbals.
Okay. Right on. How about yourself, Steve?
I had a Pearl kit.
Oh, you were following in Ringo's footsteps, weren't you?
Yeah.
Quick.
It even had that Pearl on the So I had a Pearl kit. I had a couple of Zildjian and a couple of paste hi-hat, paste crash, and a Zildjian rider.
All right, tight or loose snare? What do you like? Do you like that little more reverberation, or do you like the some more of a?
For me personally, it all depended on the music that we're playing.
Okay, fair question, fair answer.
Yeah,
there's some guys there's a guy I played with. He didn't last long in one of the bands. He just absolutely would not he would not have that rattle at all. He hated it, and whether it fit the song or not, and it sounded just like a gunshot every time he hit the thing, right? So it was awful. So. What do you think, Simon? Is it song dependent, or is that a bit of a personal preference? Do you prefer a tight or a loose snare?
Actually, Steve's given a really good answer there, but I always go for tight.
Right.
Yes, my mind is in the gutter. I giggled for the wrong reason.
Yeah, got off on a tangent.
I think we're getting close to another one of those lines that could just get a little bit more scatological than we really want it to be.
Okay, let me throw that question at Gavin.
I personally have an affinity for Ibanez bass guitars. I have a Jackson. That's my Ibanez 6-string. That is a PV 6-string electric guitar, and I have no idea what the brand is on the upright. But I just have found that Ibanez to be extremely reliable, has the most range. I can play I can go to practice with a 6-string electric bass and play with Mark, and then I could go over to the heavy metal band and play. It had the versatility. It had the great tones and sounds. It just was the perfect sort of ground. I tend to like Gallon-Kruger amplifiers, but I can't afford to fix my amp because I blew out a speaker. Or my speaker cabinet. So I blew out a speaker a number of years ago. So I have not actually done that. I just run through the mains. Mark, you have an affinity for.
What about Gavin? Let's do Gavin first.
Oh, Gavin, you go first. What's your preference to? Do you have a guitar preference or a brand specific?
I found a guitar from a Canadian maker that I enjoyed the sound of, and I've played that for the last 10 years almost exclusively. I think it's called John Paul Luther or something. Okay. I've enjoyed the sound of that guitar. I think it's the wood, lack of the varnish on the top, gives it a nice sound. But I've always liked the sound of Ovation, but I've never probably had the technique to give it justice. But I've been trying to teach my girls and get my girls to have guitar lessons, and you know they'll one of them's got an Ovation, albeit a Chinese import, and the other one, you know, we'll line her up for one as well. But I always like the sound of the Ovation from a demonstration player that Mark and I wandered across to hear once, but I never had the technique to support it really.
Yeah,
unlike Mark.
Well, thank you, Gavin. Yes, I like to pretend I'm nice. I'm good as well. Ovation. You can see one over my shoulder there. You can see the header one. But my favourite, the one I go to all the time, is this one, which is actually an Applause. An Applause, which is a low end Ovation. I got it for about $150, and it plays like an electric guitar. Nice thin neck, and mic it up. It sounds decent. It's not wonderful, but it's decent. I can plug this into my PV amp. Just turn the distortion up on my PV amp. It sounds like a Fender. It's amazing.
So you've moved on from your Squires then?
Sorry?
You've moved on from your Squires.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did pick one up when I got here, but then I gave that to my son. And, you can see I switched to... I'm already going to drop it over. I switched to a Les Paul on the electric. It's like an Epiphone Les Paul, which way cheaper than the Gibson, and quite frankly, I don't know if you can really tell the difference when you're playing it. Sounds wonderful. Yeah, but I picked the Gibson, the Les Paul, because it has a nice jazzy kind of sound. I can pluck the chords, and it sounds really nice and jazzy. I like the Ovation. Honestly, the reason I like the Ovations, I think, is because they look beautiful. Yeah, and I find reasons to like them more. But I do love my Ovation guitars, though.
So there you go. Mark likes Ovations for reasons.
Yeah. Well, look at her.
It's all about the.
Look at her. She's beautiful. Look at her.
Exactly.
Look. Oh, she's lovely. Sorry.
So when you're coming back to the UK, then, so Gavin and Steve and me can have a go, and also Ryan, you going to come over?
Yeah, I'd love to actually. I've never been to that part of the world. I've never been to Europe at all, and also the UK. I'd love to go. I have my short story is I was adopted at birth, and my birth mother has Scottish roots, so it would be nice to be able to explore the UK, maybe go up to Scotland, and I don't know if I'd be able to ever locate family up there, but it would be nice to
part
see
of the world.
Yeah, see that, part of the roots and the heritage. When we're not threatened with the prospect of dying from a disease or having to quarantine for like half a year, I would.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I would entertain. I would definitely entertain the idea of going over to the UK. I'd actually like to see some of the places that Mark played. It'd be great if they're still there. Around,
if they're still there, yeah. Yeah, I think to answer your question directly, I think it's as soon as the restrictions come up and as soon as I got enough money to come over. And I guess it will be as soon as there's no no excuse to wait. And when I do come over, whether hopefully Ryan can come with me, but I'm either going to be we'll do some shows together, or I'll be doing some solo work, and I'll we'll come over for a few weeks and do a tour. We've met some really great people doing this show out in the UK, namely Adam Feasy for one. We've become very good friends with him, and we're going to try and book some shows right across south of England if we can, even if it's just a solo. But Ryan, you're more than welcome. I'd prefer it if you.
Yeah, no, I would. I don't know how long, because Mark usually go for a fair amount of time. As you've got some family that you want to visit and also do some music work. But I mean, we got a little baby who's on the way as well, right? So it's not as easy for me to justify. Oh, hey, by the way, honey, I'm going to uproot for like a week and a half and go across the ocean.
Why don't you both just leave the baby with a babysitter? I mean, they're young enough; they won't remember.
I'll bring him with me, right? The baby. I'll be I'll be the cool dad. With the
papoose.
Yeah, just drop her off at an orphanage for a couple of weeks.
Mate.
Yeah, there you go.
drop them off at the orphanage for a couple of weeks.
Just be nice to do something, wouldn't it? You know, me and Steve would be up for it. No, and Gavin, wouldn't we?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, is Millie old enough to watch after children? I could always leave the baby with Millie. Well, right during the evening or something, right? I can't really. I might be able to pay her like a couple pounds sterling and not be able to eat for the entire time that I'm there. But, I mean,
yes, sounds lovely. Well, okay, I think we've hit the 3 o'clock mark.
It's 3 o'clock, yeah.
It's 3 o'clock, and not 3 hours. It definitely it went really quick, as the shows usually do. So I think probably that's a good place to end it. We've got lots to talk about. We have so many photographs to go through as well. So we've got to get all three of you back on. Maybe in about 6 months, maybe we can set it all up again and pick up where we left off.
Great.
That would be great. And you got any final words, Ryan?
Over to you, Mark.
Well, thank you everybody for listening, for watching, particularly Chris Slady, who's been quite active there in the chat. So thanks for that, Chris. Really appreciate it. And to answer your question about coffee, just ping me online and we'll set something up as soon as, assuming it's safe, or when it's safe, we definitely will go out for coffee. Thanks so much, Simon, Steve, and Gavin for joining us, and good job on the leading the show, Ryan. And thank you very much, everybody. We'll be back next week. I think it's Vero G is on from New York, so that'll be fun. Just watch out for we'll be promoting this obviously in the next day or two. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you next week. Thanks very much, and see you soon. Bye.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Oh,